Hi everyone, it's me, Dennis Richard from Very Venture China. Today at the channel I want to discuss what is happening between China, the United States and European Union and what we are about to expect in this new 2025 year. I will be highlighting some key things and what we might affect these relationships. By the end of this video, you will definitely have a good idea of what to look out for. And let's dive in. But first, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my new videos about China. Now, we are ready to start. The current recent news about DeepSeek AI coming from China came out of nowhere, stressed markets, wiped out $1 trillion from stock exchanges. Crazy, right? Huge companies, conglomerates like OpenAI, Gemini AI, Google, the Nvidia company, everyone get panicked through those news, right? So let's see how it will really develop. Markets were rattled. And those are the great news. Thus we have plenty of different AI tools, not only belonging to one of the countries, one leader in artificial intelligence. Thus we have two worlds, multipolar worlds, right? So there's more choice to us, to users. That's a good thing. International trade conflicts and the Chinese economy. Lately, trade conflicts have been a big headache for China and one of the biggest economies, right? So these issues have knocked out their relationships with other countries for a loop, which could impact the growth and global trade. In December 2024, discussions about trade tensions with China reaped steam. The main problems are tariffs that Donald Trump is discussing right now, restrictions coming from the USA. These have hit Chinese exports hard and causing issues in the United States too, with price hikes and fewer trade volumes that hurt manufacturers in both countries actually. And Chinese businesses have had to look for new markets and adapt to those changes. Plus, with sanctions causing some ports to close, shipment got late and new materials, raw materials became hard to get. In response, China is trying to boost its own economy. They are helping small and medium businesses, investing in infrastructure and giving tax breaks. However, the problem here remains. Exports keep dropping and the domestic market face challenges. For these trades, conflicts are massive for China and the whole global economy, guys. You cannot ignore that. Experts think that this might slow global economic growth in 2025, impacting investments and trade worldwide. Chinese cars in the Russian market, that's worth discussing right now, guys. China is really stepping up its game in different industries, especially car industry. In Russia, Chinese cars are becoming super popular. As Western brands pulled out, Chinese companies are filling the gap with many models at reasonable prices and better quality. Since 2022, the number of Chinese cars in Russia has shot up. By 2024, they made up about 60% of sales, with around 60 new brands popping up. Brands like Haval, Chery, Geely, and Dongfeng have revamped their offerings, and parallel imports are helping them out too. And Chinese cars are now a solid choice for Russian buyers, especially with Western brands under sanctions, right? So this also helps strengthen ties between China and Russia. Cyber threats and sanctions. In recent years, cyber attacks from China have created significant issues for Western countries like the USA, UK, and New Zealand. These attacks are aimed at governments, companies, and key sectors like energy and healthcare. For example, a hacking group called APT31, thought to be linked to Chinese government, has been accused of stealing data from various organizations, which could put national security at risk. In response, the US and its allies have slapped sanctions on Chinese companies, limiting their access to tech and markets. By late 2024, the USA banned several major Chinese firms in telecommunication and cybersecurity. On the other hand, China insists that it's also facing cyber attacks and thinks these accusations are unfounded. They see the West's actions as an attempt to hurt the economy. And what expert thinks? They believe these developments could shake up the global economy as well and bring real great instability. The tensions between China and the West aren't going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately. China-US relations. On January 20, 2025, Donald Trump is back as president of the US, and many are worried that this could worsen things with China greatly. Under Biden, the relationship wasn't that great, but there was some room for talks, right? Now, we might see less conversation and more conflict. Trump has already hinted at 60% tariff for Chinese goods, which would hurt Chinese exports greatly. Plus, the tensions over Taiwan and tech supply issues. Oh man, it's getting worse. There might be the room for talks between Trump and Xi Jinping to some sort of these things out, right? Need to be sorted out. Interestingly, China is looking more towards Latin America for partnerships instead of focusing on the US, which adds another layer of tension. China and European Union relations. Europe is starting to see China as a rival, especially regarding rare earth metals and semiconductors. Right now, China supplies a whopping 90% of Europe's rare earth metals, which freaks them out. Right? So the European Union wants to reduce this dependency by boosting local production or finding other sources. Also, China is trying to expand its influence with the Belt and Road Initiative, investing in many countries as possible for infrastructure projects. So in last year, they signed big deals with developing nations, which was great for China, but also concerning for the European Union. And Europe is also side-eyeing China relationship with Russia in the Ukraine situation, right? So cyber attacks and spying haven't helped either. In last year, Chinese hackers were accused of hitting European companies, so the European Union is drafting laws to protect against these threats. Because of all of this, Europe is careful and looking for its own interest. International alliances. China is also teaming up with Russia, North Korea, and Iran, forming a crew against the West. These countries are helping each other politically and economically and pushing for a multipolar world. China's strategy is to maintain its independence and resist Western pressure. China's role in international organizations. China is making a name for itself in groups like the SCO and BRICS, building connections with other countries and working on sustainable economic growth and climate change. For example, through the Belt and Road Initiative, China invests in transport and energy projects in Central Asia to boost regional development. They are also trying to get the yuan more into international transactions. With BRICS, China is funding green tech and infrastructure projects through the New Development Bank. These efforts are really helping China stand out globally, especially in tackling significant world issues. That's the news we got in previous couple of days. Let's conclude. To wrap it up, the outlook for relationships between the USA, China and Europe in 2025 is murky. The US is still pushing hard on China with sanctions and different trade rules, while Europe is looking to balance things out and might seek ways to talk constructively with Beijing. In the meantime, China isn't slowing down on the global game. It is energizing and engaging with international organizations and focusing on sustainable growth and technology. Overall, China's position in 2025 will depend on how well it adapts to changing global landscape and strengthens its economy and tech resilience. As we move towards a more interlinked world, how China, the US and Europe relate to each other will truly rely on competition and how they can work together to tackle global challenges. So friends, this video helped you better understand what to expect in 2025. It will be an interesting year that presents opportunities and new challenges. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want more new videos from Very Venture China. And what do you think about what to expect this year? Share your opinion in the comment section below. It was me, Dennis Richard, at Very Venture China. Thank you guys. See you in the next episodes. Bye.